What's up, NBA fans? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench Podcast Network and channel. Giving a shout out to the rest of the crew. I'm talking about Shy, Kelvin, and Jermaine, along with Kobe Bryant Film Room and Big Dog Sports TV. And for everyone who's tuning in, I hope that you support Behind the Bench, become a subscriber, and help make this show the best that it can be. And we're starting off the new year with a winning combination as because of your support, we have now earned the support and respect of 1,200 subscribers. We're actually exceeding expectations, and we're very thankful for your support out there. That lets us know that we're doing it right, and we're heading in the correct direction and presenting sports content in the proper way, the way that it is meant to be. No doubt about it. Now, in NBA action last night, we saw the Los Angeles Lakers take on the real Phoenix Suns. And I'm not saying either team is a major contender to win the championship, but in terms of what had occurred in the three previous matchups between these two teams, where Phoenix was missing, their second or third best player, or let's just say two of their three best players, and the first two encounters, and then the third matchup, you could tell that, Phoenix was trying to find themselves or whatnot. And this was during the in-season pool phase of that inaugural so-called tournament, where the Lakers won the first three games versus Phoenix. But they saw the real version of the Suns unleashed tonight in the most dramatic way, because they ran the table all night long versus LAL, and they won by the score of 127-109. And the man of the hour for Phoenix was none other than Bradley Beal, who's been off injured, dealing with knick-knack health concerns, as well as the issue with his lower back. And now he's back in full form. And he dropped 37, like 6 rebounds and 4 assists. And he hit close to 7 to 8 3-point shots. And when you watch this game unfold, and when you see the production of the other star players for Phoenix, where Booker had 31 points, if I'm not mistaken, and KD only needed to score 18, that's when you knew the Lakers was in trouble, because Kevin Durant, in the first three encounters, first three matchups, he actually he needed to score as much as he was possible to keep Phoenix afloat until they got healthy. And that's why those victories by the Lakers versus the Suns were questionable at best, because of the fact that Phoenix was not playing at full strength. Now, I know Lakers had some guys out too, but not their key guys. That's the difference. And like I said, when they faced each other early on, it was doing that in-season pool, where it just seemed like the stars that line up for the Lakers to come out on top for that tournament. But see, that's why the tournament is detrimental, and it's like a Jedi mind trick. It's like virtual reality, because no professional sports team should be focused on winning anything or a so-called in-season tournament 2 months into the regular season. Because now, if you do win it, you've exhausted your focus and energy into achieving that so-called milestone, and now you have nothing. You've already peaked out. That's what I'm trying to say. And I think that's a lot of what's been going on with the Lakers since the in-season tournament concluded about 4 weeks ago. And these other teams, they've been dialed in. And now we're seeing the results of that. on both ends. And, as a Laker fan myself, see, I've been on, and the other Laker fans is part of the behind the bench crew, and just basketball fans in general who truly understand basketball at this level and try to apply common sense and use historical precedents as a means to formulate their conclusion on a season to season basis, on a team by team basis, you come to understand that the Lakers are not a good basketball team. See, what you can't do is masquerade your way to greatness. And so, essentially, ever since the 21-22 season ended with the Lakers finishing outside of the play-in with a record of 33 wins and 49 losses, they lost 49 games with 5 top 75 players on it. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, Dwight Howard, Carmelo Anthony, and they could only win 33 games. See, that technically should have been in this so-called run for the fences. All-time win now mode. See, they should have put an end to that. The Laker brass should have put an end to that at the 2022 season. The second that it ended, they should have put a stop to it and put issue a notice saying the gig is up. We're breaking this deal up. We're not gonna let this dude control this team no more. We're gonna take back full reign of this franchise. Because if they make another move for this guy and bring in another round of players, via trade, then now what you're telling me is you're willing to let the entire franchise fold like a tent to where you will not be able to regain form and be recognizable and to be viable and to truly build with your own players until the next decade arrives. That's what that potential new round of trades is telling me. Because that's the only way that this organization can give the impression that they can compete and meet expectations is by mortgaging more of their future off that they no longer have and they already gave up 4 seasons ago. And if you think about it, that bubble championship, the so-called bubble that they won in 2020, that's 4 years removed. See, before all this started, this super team nonsense, if you won, you had to continuously win over an extended period of time. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't rest on your laurels. And you may not win another championship, but as long as you compete at a high level and you're in the conversation that you are a threat to win it all, okay, I can roll with that. Because sports, you're competing at the absolute highest level. Nothing really is guaranteed. You always have to prove it on the court. You see what I mean? So, with that being said, this team is not competitive. You can't continue to bring in low-scale players, unproven players who are young, by the way. And the media has to resort to convincing fans of this franchise that they had the best offseason of any of the other 29 teams in the NBA. And then 2-3 weeks in to this new regular season, the current regular season, they call it for more trades. So what that means is all that excitement about the offseason moves, it was all hoopla. It was all hype. It was all smoke and mirrors. It was not substantial. It was all talk. And as long as they continue to try to build a team around that guy, they're gonna keep on being forced to or feel forced to make ill-advised trades, ill-advised moves, and you exaggerate who you bringing into the roster, and quite a few of them you have to overpay just so you can field a full roster to compete in this league. There's been many occasions where over these past 4 weeks where they had 2 starters consisting of players who they signed to the team this offseason, who they traded for in their midseason overhaul last year, to where you got 2 guys in their starting lineup who a lot of times wind up not even scoring a basket. They wind up being scoreless. But some kind of way, this team is going to compete for a title. As fellow members of this channel have been saying, what you see is what you get. What you get is what you see. And outside that bubble season, this team has been hovering around, on average, the 8th or 9th seed, because that's who they've been the whole time. And the reason being is, and I alluded to it all the time, they relinquished and mortgaged away and gave up on the greatest and deepest young core in the history of professional basketball under the one and done era. That's what they gave up. And they cannot fill the void of what was let out or given up on or shipped out of there. They can't fill the void. But when you look at the teams that young core is on, the New York Knicks, the New Orleans Pelicans, they have viable futures. And if Kuzma can be traded to a good contender and for the next, 3 seasons, he'll be in a good spot. Ivica Zubac is in a good spot with the Clippers. You know, they as long as Steve Ballmer investing in their team, they will be at least a playoff level team. They're not going to crash. But the Phoenix Suns, we saw the real Phoenix Suns. And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying Phoenix is going to win the championship. I'm not saying it. What I'm saying is they better than the Lakers at full strength. That's what I'm saying. So the Lakers, once again, are hovering around that 10th spot in the West. And then here come Utah, who I believe the Lakers had to play next. Utah has been on the roll since they got healthy. The beginning part of the season, they was missing key starters. They was missing their best player, matter of fact, Lauri Markkanen, and then a second-year center, Walker Kessler, and then Colin Sexton were all missing games early on due to injury. Since they've been back in the lineup, they've been one of your better teams in the West. And they're like a half a game behind the Lakers as we speak. And actually, tell you the truth, actually, as far as percentage-wise, they got to be tied for 10th place. It's going to be a long time for this franchise. And I ain't talking about like claiming first place in the West on opening night where you're only playing one game into the season. I'm talking about like 40 games in. This is going to be their future for a long time. And if they keep trying to capitulate to this guy, he's not going to deliver for them. It's not going to happen. This man, essentially, since we're in a new year, this man be 40 years old. It's not going to happen. And what's scary is both LeBron and Anthony Davis have been relatively healthy this year. They really haven't missed a lot of games, but they still right where they were at the same time last year and still right where they were at the same time 2 seasons ago. When they won that bubble in 2020, they already fell behind the rest of the league. I mean, as far as like the other top teams who have been building themselves up. by the 22 season, it clearly showed when they finished 33-49 that they were depleted of talent. And it carried over to the beginning of last season where they started out 0-5 and 2-10. And then miraculously, they received an infusion of young talent mid-season to compete in this league. And I believe it caught the Western Conference opponents off guard. They didn't have no time to scout them. But they being scouted now. There's no doubt about it. And they right back at square one. What I'm trying to say is, if Phoenix was healthy and he's really trying to go out there and play their best against the Lakers, with them first 3 games that they faced each other, Phoenix win at least 2 of those. They win at least 2 of those. And they showed tonight, man, it ain't no match. Because if Bradley Beal's gonna, like, if they met in the playoffs here, I'm just being hypothetical, and if he's gonna hit shots like that, and then Booker gonna drop 30, and then KD only got to score 18, and the score is not indicative of how lopsided this contest was. Phoenix let up on the dogs like going to the last quarter, the last stanza in the fourth. But if they was to meet up in the postseason, it'd be quick, fast, and in a hurry. I'm telling you. This team is not. What's crazy is they in win now mode, but they losing. And it's because they in win now mode. See, when they win now mode, see, some teams, you can build yourself up after X amount of years. You may be one piece away, and you can say, okay, we're one piece away. We're going all in, and we're going for it. That's one thing. We've seen countless examples of that. But when you go in win now mode, after you spend the previous 3-4 years building yourself up to start over again as a franchise, what do you think is going to happen down the road? They're going to be left devoid of talent, draft picks that they've used to facilitate trades, to where you're not going to have nothing left in the cupboard. That's where the Lakers are at right now. Whereas if they would have stayed the course, like I said, they'd be sitting atop the conference right now. It's going to be a long time before the Lakers see the top of the conference again. After X amount of games into the season. It's going to be a long time. Long time. Look at Oklahoma City, Minnesota. Oklahoma City is ascended up the standings so fast. Now they're tied for first place with Minnesota. Denver's right there in third place. Sacramento is proven last year wasn't a fluke. Well, the Clippers are in fourth place. They're on the roll. Sacramento's 5th seed. New Orleans Pelicans is 6th seed. And like I said, I believe they got the deepest team in the league. And Zion Williamson, if he can stay healthy and reach his potential, they'll be the most scariest team in the NBA to have to face off in the playoffs in the West. Guaranteed. They have the deepest roster in basketball. They got the shooters, the defenders, everything that the Lakers need or clamoring for or in desperate need of. It's on the Pelicans team. The only difference is New Orleans is going to adopt the blueprint that the Lakers spearheaded in 2018, and they're going to see it through. Just like Denver saw it through last year and won their first championship. Look at Oklahoma City. And they just started, man. That's what's scary about them. They're going to roll for a decade. Minnesota looking good out there. Dallas has Luka. Kyrie playing great. You know what I'm saying? Houston has improved. So who are the Lakers going to replace who I just mentioned? And I probably forgot a team out there. Who in San Antonio starting over Victor Wembanyama. So you figure within 2 years, they'll at least be a 500 team. You see what I'm saying? So when you break this thing down, and Phoenix is vying for a playoff spot. The real Phoenix Suns show the Lakers ain't no match for them. So when you look at it, man, the Lakers in a very tight spot. And I believe once this finally over, man, they're going to be down for a long time. Because you can't rely on free agency to save the day. Because these young superstars of the future, they have re-signed 4 or 5 year extensions. to remain with the team who drafted them. The free agent pool is devoid of superstar laden talent. It mainly consists of what it should be anyway, of high-level role players, whether it's shooting, defenders, being like a backup point guard, something to that effect, backup big man. But as far as a superstar, forget about it. Who you gonna trade for to make another move? Because if you do, it's going to include another first-round pick. That's what it comes down to, because the team is not going to take players that the Lakers have in a trade for face value. They're going to ask for more assets, guaranteed, because the Lakers don't have the leverage. So my hope is, and all fans of this team should say this to themselves: is the franchise more important than the player, or is the player more important than the franchise? If they feel that the player is more important than the franchise and you got to go for broke no matter what, see, it's that no matter what that should scare you. Because that no matter what is basically saying that you know that the future's mortgaged off, but we'll deal with it down the road. Sounds good until you get down that road. You see what I'm saying? So if the franchise is more important than the player, which it should be, then they'll put an end to this after the season's over and don't make no moves. Put an end to this. Hopefully this guy will move on. He'll go back to his home team or just retire, because the league needs to move forward anyway. There's too much young talent, too many good young teams in the league that they can promote, where they can generate the ratings that they're clamoring for and that they sorely are missing out on after embracing the super team model in this so-called player empowerment era that destabilizes franchises and leave them devoid of their own talent and incapable of competing in this league. That's what player empowerment highlights to me. So it's either the franchise or the player. If they choose the player over the franchise, if they choose the franchise over the player, they'll be set back some years, but eventually can regain their footing. If they choose player over franchise, then you're talking about collapse into the beginning of next decade. That's what it's coming down to. That's what this constant disappointment is alluding to. The gig been up, man. Because if the gig went up, they'll be able to win 50 games with their two main superstars leading the way. But they can't crack 50 wins with this dude on the team. That's a telltale sign that the gig is up. So hopefully the Laker brass will have that much needed discussion and say to themselves, you know what? The gig is up. Let's get control of the franchise back. So I just wanted to drop that nugget. And until next time, this is JB for BTB, Behind the Bench.